day. Ordinary acts become extraordinary. We are always caring. We don't lose faith in this town. We are Cleveland, and we will fight just like our round. We are Cleveland. We are here for good, one day at a time. Here for good, supporting our frontline. Here for good, we hear the call. Here for all. We're here for good.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you and to help kick off the 2022 Campaign for Jewish Needs. I'm Bradley Sherman. I am the General Campaign Chair, and it is an absolute pleasure to be with all of you here in the Jewish community. This is a special, special time, a special time for us as a community, a special time for me. It's my chance to be with all of you on this very special time. It's actually the official kickoff of the holiday season for us. I figure I get to go first and then Rosh Hashanah. So I get a little bit of I get to be the leadoff. So I feel really good about that. You know, I just want to say, I want to first start by just recognizing some people that really make this engine go and people that have really had faith in me, and I'm very grateful for it. I want to recognize David Heller, who's Federation's board chair. I want to recognize Erica Rudin-Luria, which is Federation's president and CEO. I am so grateful to both of you for having your faith in me and having faith in our campaign team. We are here to do good. We are here for good. And we're really grateful for the opportunity to do that. Thank you both for your leadership, and thank you for your faith in all of us. We also have, I want to recognize the past board chairs, and Steve Hoffman, President Emeritus. I want to thank you all for your leadership of Federation and of our community. I also want to thank all of the of the campaign chairs that have come before me. I know it sounds cliched, but it is so true. I stand on the shoulders of giants. We don't get to be the community that we are today without the amazing work of those campaigns and the leadership of those campaigns. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for being a part of this community, and thank you for coming before. I also want to acknowledge our corporate sponsors, Benish, a national law firm with an international reach, and Zinner and Company, a Cleveland CPA and management consulting firm. We are so grateful for your sponsorship and your generous support of the campaign. So last year, we were undoubtedly tested by what happened. The resiliency of our community was challenged. Many in our community were faced with tremendous uncertainty. Unemployment was at an all-time high. There were people in our community that didn't know where their next meal was coming from. We were questioning how we were going to educate our children in this community and what it was going to look like to be in school in the midst of a pandemic. How do we support the overwhelmed healthcare workers that help people in our homes for the aged and with our social services? What will happen to the JCC and other institutions? How were we going to get through this? Well, regardless of all those questions, we found the answers together. We did it. We got through it. We met the challenge. We came together. We came together at a time when this virus compelled us to be apart. We recognize the necessity of supporting the diverse programs and services that cared for the vulnerable, helped us share what matters, helped us prepare for the future, and in fact, helped us repair the world. Cleveland remains one of the most vibrant and caring communities in the world. When we were called upon, we answered. When we were needed, we responded. We had an unbelievable campaign last year. We raised $33.1 million. We raised another $15.5 million for COVID relief. But you know what? A lot like the Cleveland Browns, last season was awesome. This season, we want better. We showed our community through our actions and through our support that Jewish Cleveland is here for good. Federation is here for good. Well, as I said, that was then, and this is now. Here for good means something more in 2022. It's not just a reminder of past resiliency. It is a promise for our community's future, a promise to be here for people in need, a promise to be here for the education of our children, a promise to be here for our agencies, here for the programs that and services that we provide to our community, a promise to work and to continue to make strides in Jewish continuity and identity, a promise to be here for the security of our community. Together, we stand at a critical moment right now, a moment that connects us, that connects our past with our future right now, a moment when we see everyday challenges that we face and we come together with solutions right now. We need to promise our community that we will change and improve lives through innovative programs and collaborative solutions. Right now, we need to be here for good. Right now. And that means not relying on what we did in the past. It means going forth into the future with a conviction, with the conviction of the people that helped this campaign, conviction of our donors, and the conviction of our campaigners and solicitors. I am very grateful for all that you do. In addition to the 400 volunteer campaigners, I am surrounded by an incredible leadership team, a team of vice chairs that helped me tremendously in the organizing of this campaign. I want to acknowledge and thank them now. Jennifer Cohen, Grant Dinner, Mitch Frankel, Michelle Hirsch, Alana Isikoff-Katz, Jared Miller, Cameron Orlean, Sherry Perlmutter, Danielle Wild, Jason Wooliger, and Andrew Zellman. Thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you so much for your support. Well, we have a pretty good program ahead of you. We're going to talk a little bit about stories that help shape this campaign, why we do what we do, why we are here for good. And I want to start that off with Dr. Jessica Goldstein. Dr. Goldstein is an emergency medical specialist with University Hospital's Ahuja Medical Center. She's a wonderful person, a wonderful doctor, and she's here to share her thoughts on the good she's seen here over this very difficult year.
Bradley. Hello, everybody. My name's Jessica Goldstein. I'm an emergency physician at University Hospitals Ahuja. I had the privilege of working with Bradley when I first came back to Cleveland, and I was on the Young Leadership Board. And I really am grateful for that first experience and being a part of Federation as an adult, because it really allowed me to develop some relationships that I've maintained today, and part of my decision to be involved in Federation, sending my kids to Jewish day school. So thank you, Federation, for that. And it's been a pleasure knowing you all these years, Bradley. So in terms of the campaign this year and Here for Good, and what does that mean to me? So, number one, I'm not going anywhere. My parents will be happy to hear that. But really, Here for Good, I want to focus on that hearing, because I think hearing HEAR has been a huge part of what has gotten us where we are today in terms of getting through COVID. On the front lines in the emergency department at Ahuja, I was also part of the hospital's incident command system, which was, escalating issues on a daily basis. What do we do? How do we take care of our population? And that involved a lot of listening, a lot of analysis, a lot of studying incomplete data, and really just trying to make the best decision that we could at that point in time, being flexible to tomorrow's data and reanalyzing and continuing to just move forward. And a lot of this was really hearing people out, hearing people's concerns. What are the risks of making this decision? What are the risks of staying put? And really developing a strategy that we could execute on a daily basis. And things were hard. This is a time where, as a physician, where you study and you have algorithms that you can rely upon. Like, nothing was really spelled out for us. So we really had to just put one foot in front of the other. And that was hard, just not understanding this novel disease, being fearful of going to work, bringing something home, stripping before we got into the house, making sure our scrubs didn't touch anything, and really isolating ourselves from our family, particularly somebody who's vulnerable. My parents, I didn't want to expose them, make them sick. So really limiting any time that we spent with people. We basically lived in our basement. My husband is also an emergency physician. So part of coming out of that true isolation and that fear of making other people sick around you was the vaccine. And this whole arc of fear, anxiety, and then relief was a very similar arc that we experienced in the hospital as well as at Mandel. I was on the medical advisory committee for Mandel, and so much fear, wanting to make the right decision for our students, for our children, as well as for the staff, and really trying to navigate the risks and benefits of sending kids to in-person school. And there were a lot of fears around that, and wanting to really consider a child as a holistic being, and what are the risks of keeping them at home versus sending them to school, and taking into consideration the staff, especially older, vulnerable staff. And those were hard decisions, but with listening to everybody's risks and benefits, we were able to navigate that. And we had a very successful year at Mandel as well as in the hospital. So the day that I got vaccinated, and I think there's a picture of that. The day that I got vaccinated was a great day, filled with a lot of joy and a sense of relief that, we could come out and start to at least socialize with others who were vaccinated. And when I became vaccinated, I had this sense of, this layer of protection, and I wanted to make sure that I was using it responsibly, right? Not just, going off on spring break. So I wanted to make sure that I could help others, get vaccinated. So that was another part of, hearing for opportunities, listening for opportunities to do good. And I was volunteering at University Hospital's vaccination clinic, which was run like very efficiently. Saw tons of people on a daily basis. And those were the early adopters, right? Those were the people that were busting through the doors, making sure that they could get vaccinated or get their grandparent vaccinated. But there were others that weren't coming. So I was trying to understand, about this vaccine hesitancy, which continues. But who are these people that we need to continue to get to so that they can overcome their fears and really come out of isolation? And one of the first places to stand up another vaccination clinic was MedWorks, which is another great organization. And they set up a vaccination clinic at some of the local Black churches. And I was talking to people about why are you here? Why are you here and not at UH? UH could have processed you 2 weeks ago. And it was all about trust, and trust for a location that's offering this vaccine with people that look like them, and they chose to be vaccinated through their local church. And when I got a call from Federation talking about what else can we be doing to benefit the Jewish population, they connected me with JFSA and with Netta Mendlovich, who is a fantastic human being. And she needed some volunteers to start vaccinating people at JFSA. And I have gone past JFSA hundreds of times, right? And it's right on Chagrin Boulevard. I did not know that it existed. And when I came for the first time and walked into Alyson's place, I was really floored. It's a very well-stocked clinic. And just some information in case you guys don't know about Alyson's place. This was started as a joint collaboration between UH and JFSA, and now the partnership is taken over by Metro Health. And they really, they provide comprehensive care to some of the most vulnerable patients that we have in our Jewish community, combination of medical and psychiatric conditions. And if JFSA was running the rest of the healthcare community, I would be out of a job as an emergency physician, literally, because they coordinate care and their goals are to keep people out of the hospital and out of the emergency department. That's like the epitome of population health. So I was really impressed with Netta and the whole JFSA team. I'm really proud to be part of the Jewish community and what JFSA stands for. JFSA has gone on to provide vaccination clinics to several of the day schools, as well as several of the congregations. They went out to Camp Wise to vaccinate kids that were due for their second shots. So, I mean, they are very committed to our community, and I'm very proud to be a volunteer there. So, in terms of being proud to be a part of this Jewish community and being here for good, I think that Federation, and in particular JFSA, as I have experienced this year, really recognizes the unique needs of our most vulnerable members of our Jewish community. And I'm proud that we're able to come together in ways such as this to really overcome our fears, be stronger, and really be resilient, as Bradley mentioned before. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this. And for all the donors out there, thank you for allowing JFSA to really thrive and benefit our population. And now I'd like to introduce Katie Spiegler and her daughter, Avi.
Hi, my name is Katie Spiegler, and I live in Beechwood, Ohio with my husband, Ari, and our 4 kids. And my connection to Jewish Cleveland is through pretty much absolutely everything that we do, but most importantly, through the education of our 4 kids at the Fuchs Mizrahi School.
Hi, my name is Avi Spiegler, and I am a 5th grader at Fuchs Mizrahi School. My connection to Jewish Cleveland is attending Fuchs Mizrahi as a 5th grader.
So Avi, what were you most worried about missing if you didn't go back to school in person?
I was most worried about missing all of the wonderful chances I had, like Chidon and the Shoresh Bowl.
What did you miss most when you were remote?
I miss being in my classroom with my amazing teachers.
How good did it feel to be back at school with your friends when you went back in person?
It felt so good to see everyone's smiling faces.
What's your favorite holiday and how do you celebrate it at school?
My favorite holiday is Yom Ha'atzmaut, and at school we celebrate it with a giant parade, but during COVID we couldn't celebrate it with a giant parade because we had to social distance. So there was a small car parade and we couldn't really see each other.
What does Here for Good mean to you?
Here for Good means to me that because me and my friends are at school, we're not going anywhere else.
What are you looking forward to most about this year?
I'm looking forward to being the head of the lower school and running all the fun and engaging programs. What did you worry about if I couldn't go back to school in person?
I worried about you and your siblings and missing out on all of the benefits of in-person learning. You may be able to learn math and science and even Hebrew on a computer, but what you can't learn is what it feels like to play on the playground with your friends or learn in groups with your teacher in a classroom. And maybe I was also a little worried about working at home with 4 kids.
Who made it possible for me and my friends to go back to school safely?
An absolute and complete village. It took an amazing commitment from so many people. Rabbi Joel, all of the medical advisory committee at Mizrahi, and most importantly, the Cleveland Jewish Federation and the entire Cleveland Jewish community.
How did you, or were you nervous about me and my siblings going back to school?
Not at all. I trusted that all the people who make the decisions about how and when to go back to school knew how to do it with all of the best interests in mind. And I was just so excited to be back at Mizrahi with all the people that we know and love.
How did you feel each day dropping me off and picking me up?
Complete and utter gratitude. It was almost like a holiday every day. I felt like I had the entire community's arms wrapped around me to make sure that even a pandemic would not get in the way of educating our kids to ensure Jewish continuity. I try to never take it for granted.
What does Here for Good mean to you?
Here for Good means that all of the investments that the Cleveland Jewish Federation has made have created a foundation for a very, very bright future. Whether it's the schools, the shuls, the JCC, social service agencies, or even the new grocery store, the Cleveland Jewish community is here to ensure that we continue Jewish continuity for a very, very long time. The Cleveland Jewish Federation, along with the Jewish community, has said, not even a global pandemic will get in our way. Now, let's hear for a good story from Mark Holtz and Mayrav Levy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Holtz, and I am the chair of the Beit Shean subcommittee for OCC. I got involved with our federation's work in our sister city, Beit Shean and Valley of the Springs, about 5 years ago. And this past summer, had the opportunity to travel along with my wife, Leslie, and other Cleveland leaders to Israel to see the work that our federation programs are doing there. On one of our stops, we got an opportunity to visit Beit Shean, and we visited the Tachkamoni Elementary School where we met Merav Levy. And it was after, very quickly into the visit with her, which is about an hour, I quickly realized that Merav is somebody that the entire Cleveland community needs to meet because she exemplifies the work that our partnership is doing there. In Israel, we visited the school, we got to spend time with the children, and we got to spend time with Merav. And I'm very happy to introduce you to Merav Levy.
תודה למרק, ריגשת אותי מאוד. שלום לכולם, שמי מירב לוי, מנהלת בית החינוך תחכמוני בבית שאן. 25 שנים הייתי מחנכת כיתות א'-ב' בשני בתי ספר אחרים בבית שאן, וכעת נקראתי למשימה לקבל את מינוי הניהול בבית הספר תחכמוני. לפני כשנה בית הספר היה אמור להיסגר. נקראתי למשימה ונעניתי בשמחה, כי גם אני כתלמידה, כילדה, למדתי בבית ספר כזה שממוקם באזור גיאוגרפי שהוא סוציו-אקונומי מאוד קשה, וראיתי את הילדים מול העיניים וחשבתי לנכון שגם לילדים האלה בפריפריה, במקום מגורים בשכונה שהמצב של הסוציו-אקונומי קשה, מגיע שיסתכלו להם בעיניים, שיעזרו להם ושיקנו להם מה שמגיע לכל ילד בישראל, בטח בכל ילד בבית שאן.
One of the things that I've learned in my 5 years being involved with Beit Shean is that all children in Beit Shean need more support. They oftentimes do not have the same educational opportunities and socioeconomic opportunities that are available to kids in the wealthier areas of the country, such as Tel Aviv. I know that you, like me, want to make sure that every dollar that is going to help these children and helping all these kids reach their full potential 3 years ago, Federation launched a STEM program, the STEM initiative, to help children expand their worldview and dream bigger in 4 different communities in Israel, including Beit Shean. So Marav, can you tell us about how the STEM initiative is making a difference?
מרק, אני רוצה לומר לך שאתה אומר סטם, בא לי לחבק אחד מהאנשים פה במסך, ולומר להם חיבוק חזק של תודה, כי סטם זה מודל ששינה פה את הלך הרוח פה בחינוך בבית שאן. עשיתם מהפך שאני אומרת לכם כ-25 שנה במערכת החינוך, משרד החינוך מנסה לעשות את המהפך הזה ונלחם לעשות את המהפך הזה המון שנים. אני חוויתי את ההצלחה של סטם כמחנכת והיום כמנהלת. סטם זה מודל שמסייע למערכת החינוך לעבוד במודל הוראה אינטרדיסציפלינרי. נוכחנו לדעת שהשיטות של פעם הישנות, שמורה שעומד מדבר ומרצה, כבר לא יכולות להיות בעידן של החיים של היום. אותו מרצה כבר לא יכול להגיע באופן אישי לכל ילד ולשמוע ולתת לו מענה לצרכים שלו. ראינו בשנים לפני 10 שנים שעבדנו במודל הישן לפני סטם, שהיו הרבה לקויות והיו הרבה ילדים שקופים, שתלמידים סיימו כיתות א', ב' וו' ביסודי, עם המון קשיים שהם לא היו מודעים אפילו לקשיים שלהם. והיום במודל האינטרדיסציפלינרי אנחנו מלמדים את המורה, יחד זה החזון של סטם בעצם, שהמורה הוא כבר לא מרצה, הוא מנחה. אנחנו מלמדים את הילדים מיומנויות, שמלמדות את הילדים בדרך חווייתית, בדרך שעוסקת בתכנים שהם נושאים בחיי היומיום. אנחנו יודעים כשאנחנו מלמדים טכנית מתוך החוברות, כמו פעם, ומתוך העמודים, ולפתוח עמוד 8 בשורה מספר 3 ולבצע את המשימה, זה לא זה. מודל סטם מלמד גם את המורים, ואנחנו מיישמים את זה לילדים, ללמידה משמעותית. החזון של סטם אומר, מלמד אותנו לתת מענה דיפרנציאלי, כאשר למפות איזשהן יכולות של הילדים לפי חוזקות וחולשות, והשיעור נבנה בנושאים שמתאימים ליכולות ברמה הכיתתית, ברמה הקבוצתית, ברמה האינדיבידואלית. לצאת מתוך עולמם של הילדים. אם פעם אני התחלתי כמחנכת כיתה א', כי ככה קיבלתי את ההוראה ללמד מתוך חוברת, לא. היום אני מוציאה את הילדים למרחב החוץ-כיתתי, ואנחנו רואים את ההוכחות. כמחנכת כיתה א' בשנה שעברה, הראיתי למפקח, תסתכל, אם פעם בכיתה א' לפני 6-7 שנים, מתוך 100%, 70% רכשו את הקריאה. תאמינו לי, היום, סיימתי שנה שעברה כיתה א', כמעט 100%, אני לא רוצה לומר לכם 100%, כי תאמרו שאני יהירה או מגזימה, אבל כמעט 100% רכשו את הקריאה. למה? כי לימדנו בחזון סטם, שאנחנו יוצאים מהמרחב הכיתתי למרחב החוץ-כיתתי, ומלמדים בדרכי הוראה חדשניות וטכנו-פדגוגיות חדשות, הילדים משתפים פעולה, הילדים מצליחים להפנים את מה שאנחנו מלמדים בצורה מהירה יותר, וגם מצליחים.
Marav, I cannot thank you enough for your leadership. It's impossible to quantify the impact of having somebody like you at the Tachmoni Elementary School. And with your help, we know that our campaign dollars are really making a difference. When we were there, a young girl named Talia made me a keychain that I still carry around here. It says Toda on it, it says Ava on it for love. And it is a constant reminder to me that our work is never done, that we are here 365 days a year. We're here for good. There's work to do, and we're not going anywhere. And this is my daily reminder of that. So on that note, it's great to see you. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in person very soon.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Mark. I want to thank Merav. I want to thank Jessica. I want to thank Katie, and I want to thank Avi. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your stories and showing us why it is important to be here for good. So I want to share with you a little bit more about the campaign and what to expect over the next 14 weeks. This, because of the, last year, if you remember correctly, we had a couple things at the beginning of the beginning of campaign to kind of help jumpstart the campaign, because it's so important to get out there quickly and do our solicitations where it's necessary and to make our gifts early if we can. And in that vein, this year, we have put together some really amazing programs for you to consider that hopefully will help you get jump started on your campaign and on making your gifts. First, thanks to the generous foundation, we have an opportunity to unlock a special bonus gift of $125,000 if we as a community in the first month, that's before October 1st, can raise $250,000 in new or increased gifts. If we can raise that, we get $125,000 extra from this foundation. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us, and we're very grateful to them helping us kind of jumpstart our campaign. Remember, it's only available for the first month. So if we get it done in the first month, we can, and we think we can do it. We know we're on our way. Even at this point, we're on our way. So with your help, we know we can get where we need to go. Also, thanks to Brunswick Companies, for every increased gift that moves a donor from one giving society to another giving society, or moves them into a giving society for the first time, and such as the King David Society, or the Joshua Society, or the BGS, Ben Gurion Society, and others, what will happen is the Brunswick Companies will make a $1,000 gift in honor of those people moving into that society, up to $60,000. So that is another opportunity. Now, I'm asking campaigners out there to, when they get their campaigner packets and they're looking at their potential donors, to please also speak with the staff at Federation. We'll also reach out to people where we think it's appropriate to kind of help them understand maybe which members of our community, when we're soliciting them, may be someone that we want to target for including this gift, as well as those people who are making their generous contributions. Please consider joining one of our giving societies and thereby unlocking the potential of the Brunswick bonus. I also want to share with you another idea, another trend that we're trying to develop here at Federation and here through the campaign. This year, we are introducing, I shouldn't say introducing, but we're emphasizing the concept of multi-year giving. Now, that's only going to be in certain cases, but the idea being that we would, again, with some specific targeted help, we would look at individuals who may be someone who wants to consider giving over a period of time, giving a gift that has built into it the potential for increases, that will give that gift over 3 years or so. Maybe as a way of moving into a giving society, maybe as a way of just demonstrating year after year their support for the Jewish Federation of Cleveland and for the campaign. It's a wonderful opportunity to not only to demonstrate that your commitment to the community, but that you are here for good and that you'll be here for good in the future. So again, please, if you think you have a candidate who might be good for this type of giving, talk to a Federation staff member or talk to me. I'd be glad to put you in touch with someone who could help you determine whether you or someone that someone who you're campaigning is eligible for, who would be a good candidate for such a gift. Now, I encourage you to retell the stories that we've heard this evening. It's events like this. It's the trip to Israel that we took a couple weeks ago where I got to meet Mirav. It is meeting with people at the day schools. It's meeting with people at the JCC and at our institutions that give me what I need to make this campaign possible. And I encourage all of you to retell these stories or tell your own story, your own Jewish story. It's so important. It's such an important part of why we give in this community. It's such an important part of what makes Cleveland a special place. So tell these stories. And if you want other ones, I promise you I can help you get them. Now I want you to save the dates. A couple dates I want you to save. Please save the following dates. Number one, on September 9th at 4 p.m., there's going to be an event for anti-Semitism and campaigner training session that I'd like to invite all of you to attend. And the idea, everyone hears campaigner training. Oh yeah, I know how to solicit. I don't need a campaigner training. Trust me, this is going to be a little bit different. Yeah, everybody says that every time. But I promise this is going to be different. And it's also going to deal with the issue of anti-Semitism, which I think is very, very important. It's something dealing with the security and the continuity of our community that we need to talk about. And this training, we're going to be discussing a lot about these bonuses and gifts and multi-year giving that could help you in your fundraising efforts for the campaign. And also, Sunday, October 10th, Sunday, October 10th is Super Sunday. It's coming, Super Sunday. And we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. It kind of depends a little bit on what our community looks like in terms of what's going on in the community and with the health and safety of individuals in our community. But we are going to have a Super Sunday, and we're going to do our best to have a Super Sunday that allows us to interact with each other, maybe a little bit more than just on Zoom. So please mark that on your calendar. I'd love to see people on that day. As always, Access Jewish Cleveland is available if you know someone, if you or someone you know is struggling. And I recommend that you go to Access Cleveland if you need it. Look, this is a really special night for me. It's a special night for our community. It marks the beginning of a 14-week sprint, an important sprint, a sprint that is here for good. Now, a year ago, I stood in front of my community in the middle of a pandemic, and I asked you to dig deep, to give, and not just give, but specifically to give your time, to give your talent, to give of yourself, to give because you can and to give because others can't. Right now, I stand before you at a moment of transcendence. Together, we can overcome the challenges our communities face. Those challenges of social need, Jewish continuity, and anti-Semitism. We have the ability to make the 2022 Campaign for Jewish Needs the most meaningful campaign ever. So I'm asking you to dig deep again, to help in this moment of transcendence, to help us bring this campaign home for our community, to help us to continue to make Cleveland the great place it is. This campaign does not happen without all of you. All of you. Without you, this just doesn't happen. You, the campaigners, you, the generous donors. I wish to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for all that you will do. Thank you for all you've done, but thank you for all you will do. Let's fulfill our promise to be here for good. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you all for joining our community tonight. Thank you all for being a part of the 2022 Campaign for Jewish Needs. And with that, I bid you a good evening.